Hey there everyone, an interesting discussion came up on the forum today about wizard skills being decreased, and so I decided to look into it and yeah, I'll talk about the changes. Some of the changes have happened, some of them actually haven't happened, so I'm going to talk about them in this. Anyway, so he talks about teleport, master device, water mana bolts, and frostdrake all being nerfed. Now teleport, I assume he's referring to Fireblink here, which did get its move speed decreased, and that's just because it was way too much. The other ones I'm looking into and I will show in this video here. So I made a video a while back about pet damage and how that worked, and I'm going to have to remake it because they changed it a little bit. So the suggestive power in the event here, it's 42,000, yeah, so if you have 42,000 power, roughly, your sort of stats are going to be related to pet damage, because the pet damage is scaled to the enemy difficulty. So yeah, I've roughly got 42,000 power here. So my basic attacks, the critical hits, that's going to be the same as, that's going to be what the pet damage works off. And so whatever I hit with a basic attack critical hit, that's what 200% pet damage would be, because it's half. And so yeah, with the frostdrake in particular, that deals 350% pet damage. So it will be doing times 1.75 whatever I'm hitting with my damage. Anyway, so just to say quickly first, I have got 0% water damage on this, so we're not going to have to worry about any modifier on that. I've also taken the Master Device screwing off, and I am using the Frostdrake rune here, not the Empowered Frostdrake, so it has no bonus, it just has that additional hit, which we can ignore. So yeah, right now, I should be hitting a certain amount. Now I'm actually doing this with 0 class promotion and relic sets, which I found quite interesting because I thought the suggested power would be with relic sets plus some class promotion, but actually it isn't. So in most cases I'd say people are playing Platinum difficulty with quite a lot higher power than is suggested, which means pet skills are going to be quite weak. For everyone, not just for overpowered people. Anyway, so if we look here, I'm actually going to do this on these guys. So the critical hits, I'm doing roughly 25, 30,000, something like that. So the Frostdrake is going to be doing double damage because these are fire enemies. So we can actually just imagine it's 3.5 times whatever damage I'm hitting there. So I'm hitting 25 to 30,000, which means the Frostdrakes are going to be hitting roughly 100,000. So yeah, let's just test that now. Put a Frostdrake down, and it hits. Okay, it got killed. Let's use another one. And it's hitting 74,000, 80,000, 74,000, 100,000, 70,000, 90,000. So yeah, it's roughly in that kind of field. And yeah, so it looks like it's working fine for the suggested power. But as you can see, the basic attack damage, 30,000. If you're properly geared with like mythic sets and you've got high class promotion and stuff, your basic attack's going to be doing 200,000, 300,000. And so the Frostdrake's only hitting 100, and that's when they're doubled, is not much at all. Now, one thing with pet skills is that they scale with your damage a little bit. So this is their sort of base damage, and then as you get higher damage yourself, it will increase their damage. So that should be the case. So if we put on this staff here and gives me 1.2 million damage, the Drake should be hitting a lot more. As you can see, a basic attack does a lot of damage, and if we use a Frostdrake, it's still hitting 100,000, 80,000. It doesn't actually increase. So I think if anything's been changed, it is that. It is now that pet skills do not scale with your damage. They only work off the enemy power, which I'm not sure when this happened, but it means that for all the sort of the people who are geared anywhere above Platinum difficulty, pet skills just do terrible damage. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to... well, look, if I have time for it, I may show it in Master difficulty. Actually, no, I'm not going to show it in Master difficulty this video, but I'll test that at some point too, to see how the damage scales in that, and whether it is actually viable in there. But this works on all pet skills. They're all going to be hitting a very small amount. And now for Master of Ice, we're going to look at this. So, and just to say quickly on one further point. So Empowered Frostdrake that adds another 100% pet damage on, plus a small bit of damage. But yeah, that 100%, that's not really going to be helpful at all. I did like this skill a lot because it adds like pretty much a quarter damage extra. However, now I'm really not so keen on it because if the damage is always going to be so low, it doesn't matter how much percentage gets added, it's going to be terrible. Anyway, so let's do with Master of Ice just to see. So this is a maxed one, so I should be doing triple damage now with my Frost Drake. Let's just have a look. The first attack won't always... Oh, I didn't use Master of Ice. That would help. So the first attack doesn't always get tripled. And we can't look at the boss because the boss actually takes more than double. So yeah, 300,000, 250,000. You can see that's tripling normally. Everything's working fine there. Also, Greater Water Mana Bolts. We're looking at like 58% water, which should be doubled. So that's a bit more than a basic attack with each hit. A basic attack's 25 to 30,000. So if we watch here at the numbers, hard to see. we'll try again. We've got 2 more shots here. So yes, Master of Ice is working fine. This here, oh, I didn't quite see there. I hope you can see watching this video, but when I tested before, it was definitely looking fine. If you just go over and pause the video on the numbers there to have a look. But yeah, that seems to be working fine, doing exactly what you'd expect, and it is getting buffed by Master of Ice exactly how you'd expect. Interestingly, this boss actually takes slightly more damage from slightly more than double. If you look here at the damage output, 130,000, that was hitting like 100,000 on the things around the edge. That screwed me up a little bit in the testing. So yeah, some enemies it looks like they take more than double from the element they're weak to. That's something which has happened in some previous events as well. I noticed that they're taking more like triple. It's usually the boss, just to let you take down the boss faster, I guess. Anyway, so I just did this with the Staff of 1,000 Truths to show it with the damage increase, but I also tested by wearing stronger gear and also doing higher class promotion, and none of them seem to be actually affecting the water damage. Sorry, the pet damage. They do not increase it anymore. So that's a change which has occurred. I don't know when it happened, but it's really quite annoying for people who are geared at all. Really, it just means that pet skills are now just useful for those people who are weak. I mean, if we go to actually, let's use Frost Wave here. Have I got Frost Wave? I've got a base level one. Fine, let's just use Stone Storm. So let's see what this hits. The hits on that. We're looking at the base numbers. Okay, I'll use it without scoring because I can't see otherwise. Let's see what the base numbers do. About 13,000, but it's doing double hits. So yeah, 13,000. That's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And that is, oh no, that's without the staff. I'll just throw on a tons of damage. You can see the jewels on this have a ton of damage. So yep, is it going to do any more? Oh, I got interrupted. Let's try again. Use it again. And it's doing roughly the same, 11,000. So yeah, there you have it. That's how pet skills now work. And it's really quite annoying. Hopefully they can look into reversing that, because I don't really see why that was necessary. As long as they don't need to have huge scaling, they just need some really, just to make them viable. But yeah, Drakes are still good as defense. They're just not really any good at offense anymore. And unfortunately, Mana Storm and the other pet skill, Mimic, are pretty much useless right now for everyone, which is a shame, a real shame. I do like Stone Storm though, because it adds actual static damage on it, which doesn't crit or anything, so that's still good in farming and in PvP. But yeah, the actual pet damage part of those skills is useless. So I hope that clears everything up, and we just got a crash, so that was good timing. So yeah, that's what's changed, and I completely agree that Frost Drakes, they were too powerful originally, and then they got changed, and I really think they could do better at balancing them, because they should have some damage output, and certainly Mana Storm and Mimic, for those both to be useless is a bit harsh. Also, just to say quickly, I have to completely disagree with what Wizard of the ESS said. Archers are totally screwed because they have lots of skills that deal pet damage. There are two. There's Falconer and Ballista. Ballista is a good skill when it actually properly does damage. It's a great skill for adding a bit of extra in. Falconer's never been that good. So yeah, this is a huge effect to wizards, specifically with drakes. But yeah, makes absolutely no difference to knights and not really much difference to archers. So yeah, a little disappointing, but that's the way everything is, and hopefully with this discussion here we can get them to look into adding that damage scaling a bit again. So that's it from me. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.